Okay, so here is the poll results. 1 second. Let's take a look at these. Okay, so this is from a gentleman on the Discord channel for the SnowRunner Discord. His name is Index Out of Bounds. He created this document called Players' Opinions on SnowRunner Maps. So let's take a look at this real quick. This is actually some really good info for those who... I think everybody can see this now. Okay, so as y'all can see, these are the poll results taken across. This was shared to Reddit. This was shared to also the Discord channel. Basically sharing it with the Discord channel opposed to sharing it with the Reddit channel, which is a totally different crowd. We noticed some of these results came down. But anyways, let's go through here and look at this. So Michigan, out of 10, people mostly rated Michigan about 3.5, which I think is fair because it's the starting map. Enjoyment, however, was almost at 8.0. Their enjoyment of these, you can see that a lot of folks really like these regions here, the older ones. You can see these actually are just changing because people are still adding numbers in. Tamir, difficulty was a 5. I think I could probably agree somewhere around there because Tamir does get a little bit more. They take in results and then it basically just goes into here and feeds this information into this form. But yeah, you can see the base maps are trending very well. Okay, so here's the year 1 pass. Kola Peninsula is ranking at 7 and also at 7 in enjoyment. So folks actually liked Kola Peninsula, which is really good. It's supposed to be subjective, Hagrid. It is a poll taken by the community. It's purely subjective. So Yukon, this is something I kind of found interesting and I kind of expected this. People actually thought Yukon was a little less difficult than Kola. I don't know if I rightly agree with that, just because of the logging and a lot of these routes in Kola or Yukon, but they also a lot of folks didn't really like Kola. Yeah, how are you enjoying the game objectively? Yeah. It's a good question. But anyways, so Wisconsin, people ranked about a 5. Actually, people ranked Wisconsin easier than Tamir. I don't think I would have ranked Wisconsin easier than Tamir. I think this is based on perspective, right? This could be a perspective thing because when we played Tamir, we didn't have all the trucks that we did have in Wisconsin, right? And also, you've already played Kola and Yukon, and this was kind of a reprieve. And we've talked about this. The only really map in the year 1 pass that felt like a reprieve, opposed to like difficulty, was kind of Wisconsin at a almost 7.5. So it's actually ranked the highest enjoyment out of all these. So let's move on to Amur. I think this was ranked pretty good. Amur is objectively the hardest. You mean all these numbers down here, like all these decimal points? Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. But it's just because they didn't shorten it up, but it's fine. But yeah, Amur, I think this is fair. I think if you make Amur a 10, so if Amur's a 10, where does every other map rank in difficulty? That's kind of like where I would put it on a tier list, because being it's the hardest map, I think, in the game, that's essentially, it would be a 10, because it is the hardest map in the game, objectively. But the thing I noticed was Amur actually got ranked pretty well with enjoyment, which is kind of crazy. And to be honest, the average, I don't think this average reflects how good Amur is. I think enjoyment kind of does. So to be honest, I don't know. Actually, this could actually be a good reflection because it's an average of both. But yeah. So Amur actually did pretty well. I didn't think Amur would be this high, but it's kind of funny it got ranked that high. Moving down, the Dawn, people ranked it pretty much middle of the road almost. I would probably say it's around that. It seemed a little bit like Tamir, with balance concerns and mud textures. Only 2 maps are very small, and people generally like this map. This is probably the lowest ranking we've seen since the Yukon, but still, I thought it was a good map. Maine people ranked the difficulty a little higher. I think that's justified. Maine did feel easy in some areas if you knew a lot of good shortcuts, but yeah, it could be pretty hard in some other areas. And then the enjoyment was pretty high. They like that. Tennessee, I expected this to all be very low. To be honest, I thought Tennessee, yeah, I would probably rank this the same. Maybe difficulty a tad high. Yo, Robin, thank you for that follow. I'd probably rank this maybe around a 4, just because of tipping concerns and the racing kind of just could be a little bit difficult in some areas with those rocky ones. Enjoyment, this is low for me. I think I ranked this like a 2 of enjoyment. I just didn't really think it was that great. Let's go down to Glades. Glades difficulty was super low, which is kind of true. I would probably give it a 4, just because there are spots you can tip yourself over. There are some things that creep up on you when you think you're safe on those light dirt trails, but they're kind of off balance in some way. And then when you take shortcuts, yeah, you can get yourself in trouble, especially on the first map. Enjoyment, I expected this to be a little worse, but this is around middle. What can we say of an average rating and more is the best region? Please make a more too. That could happen. So yeah, moving on to the year 3. So this is the first 3 maps from the year 3 pass. You may play in order difficulty, but I think once you complete a more than such as the Glades. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the average tab is kind of confuses me a little bit. I don't know what kind of stat that is, to be honest, the average stat. I probably would have just kept these 2, and then that's how I would have ranked it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, okay, it's difficult. How is it enjoyable? You know what I'm saying? The average, I don't think this doesn't convey to me the best map in the game, the average, right? Because a lot of people that might have thought this was too difficult ranked its enjoyment very low. Or you might have people that ranked it high, but now you can see it's actually decreasing. All right, let's move on to Ontario. Ontario, I think it was around a 4. A 4, maybe a 5 in difficulty. It wasn't really that bad. Enjoyment, I think, was relatively high. Outside of firefighting at the end, the burned forest was awesome. I really thought that was a really cool map. Topography was good. The trail running was good. The switchbacks, the burned forest stuff, I think that was all good. The water boon mechanic issue was just not there for me. So overall, this was still a good map. British Columbia, sorry. This, difficulty-wise, I do think this was harder than both of these maps here, Ontario and Scandinavia, and it's kind of trending that way. I probably would have put it about a 5, just because of topography. But also you have to consider we've gotten 2 really good trucks in that map, and that kind of depleted the difficulty aspect of this, I believe. The enjoyment was great. People loved this map. And I think the crazier thing is the highest enjoyment that we've gotten out of all these maps is actually Scandinavia, which this seems pretty fair. I think these would probably be almost equal for me, but this is showing that a lot of folks, even with lower difficulty or almost a mid difficulty, seemed pretty well. And yeah, so basically the last map they've created is the highest enjoyment we've had in the game. Number 2 is actually British Columbia. Actually, no, number 2 is actually Michigan. Number 3, I believe, is Alaska. After that, I think it might be Wisconsin. So this kind of gives you a little, and here's a chart actually, if you want to look at the chart of where here's the fun scale, the enjoyment, and here's difficulty. So Amore is way out here with the enjoyment high. Tennessee, we kind of knew this would rank down here. Glades, we knew this would come down here as well. Dawn's pretty much like middle of the road. Yukon, I kind of thought the enjoyment part would be a little bit down. All maps in year 3 are too chill. I don't think they're too chill. I think they have good balance. I think we just have good trucks, and they released way too late. And that's kind of a good topic of interest here, is actually if you would have taken Ontario, British Columbia, and Scandinavia and inserted them into year 1, okay, this would have been these would have been ranked differently in difficulty. I guarantee there would be a point. These would at least be a 5. But because we had the hardest year pass ever, which is the year 1 pass, everything that came after is from the lenses of going through this. So you notice that, look at the difficulty, 7, 6, 5, 9. After this, everything trended down. 5, 6. Main was almost an exception here. But then 3, 3.7, 4. These started to get a little harder actually, they started to get a little bit harder than Tennessee and the Glades. So it's basically the perception we have. We're getting better as a player base. And also we have amazing trucks, guys. So that is pretty much a reflection of how the SnowRunner community feels about the current 11 seasons and the base game in SnowRunner. So I thought that'd be really cool to show you guys. But this is actually a document that was made on Discord. So thank you for sharing this. This is awesome. The person who actually shared this document, his name is Index Out of Bounds. So thank you, Index, for sharing this stuff. This is really, really amazing.